Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I hope that you're having a wonderful beginning of the month. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your April. As today, we're going to dive into a painting reaction, another one we got lined up here. We're going to look at the Arnolfini portrait. We're going to pull it up here shortly. You know, surprisingly, it takes a second to find like a full version that I can make sure I can zoom in and out of. And I don't look at the painting. I like trying to find the information quick. Then I come off it, pull up the Wikipedia as I'm looking at right now. It's an oil painting on oak panel by early Netherlandish painter Jan van Eyck, dated 1434. That's all we're going into right now. We're going to pull it up here in a second. Here, you guys can see what I'm looking at right now. We're going to move on into it in 3, a 2, a 1, and here we go. All right, the Arnolfini portrait. Let me can I look at it like... See, I didn't even do that well. Can I full screen this? That's what we want. This is what we want. Okay. So, the Arnolfini portrait. Let's see what we got here. Well, of course, the two subjects in hand. He's dressed a little, perhaps darker, a little more dour than I would expect. I would imagine they're married. I mean, she's pregnant, clearly, holding her blouse up here a little bit, her dress. Like I said, he's a little bit more dour. His hat is very stylish, very wide-brimmed. And she's in colorful but humble dress as well. I'd imagine this is like a bridal veil of sorts or something like that. Okay, let's dive into this a little bit. Now, obviously they're joined by marriage by their hand here. Her hand's on her belly, pregnant. His hand is up. Now this hand up, unless I'm mistaken, I've seen that in many pictures of Jesus and holding his hand up in like a holy kind of symbol. So I'm imagining that's what he's representing there. Let's see what else we got. I just think it's interesting, his expression. Their expressions are a little bit more dour than I would expect here. Let's look at the digs down here. Very interesting sandals here on the right. I just noticed the little cute dog. He's kind of cute down here. I like that. And then her sandals, I'd imagine, over there. So he's on these wood sandals. Now, did he take these off so that they appear more even? No, he's still taller. But he tried to even himself a little bit out, perhaps, without his heeled wooden sandals. These sandals, I would imagine, were hers. But I could be wrong. They also match the quilt back here, so it could be their resting slippers. Their bed chamber here. They're to the left of their bed. Okay, I gotcha. It's a very fancy bed with the overhang here. Let's see what you got back here. What fruit you have? Some oranges. One on the window. Maybe they put one on the window to ripen a little quicker so they can eat it quicker. And then these other 3 they keep in the dark. And they'll put on the windowsill when they want to ripen them. I got you. Weather-wise, they seem to have a tree back there. I'd assume it's an orange tree. Can you guys see? I would assume it's an orange tree. Looks like it to me. So that's where they get their oranges from. We're self-provided. You can begin to see the cracks there when you kind of zoom in. Okay, he's wearing a ring, very humble, and that's holding his coats, same as hers. Hers is gold, his is black. She's obviously much more adorned, although still simply. Expression tells me he's been sitting here for a while this painting has been made. I like how they have some stained glass up here at the very top, on the top left. You can see that. Now, what is this stained glass? Unfortunately, I'm not an art major of any note. I would imagine it's probably something specific, but I couldn't say exactly what, so I can't say on that. The chandelier. Are those cobwebs in the chandelier? Or just marks in the actual painting itself? Probably more just marks. It's a very kind of gothic chandelier. And these kind of look like crowns, but upside down. Does that somehow relate to the painting? I cannot say for sure. Let me move over to the bedchamber over here. Very nice. Her hair, we've seen that. I've seen that hair in a certain style, but I couldn't tell you what that style is, but I'm imagining it also represents something. There's a bee. Is that supposed to be a bee? From a distance, it kind of looks like it. Like right here, but I can't say for sure. Don't quote me on that. If so, it may have flown in from this open window, looking for some oranges and such. She has 2 rings, while he, as far as we can see, had 1. Moving down. Nice ruffles in her dress. Blue beneath green. Could that represent something? Blue beneath green? Not sure. Let's move to center. Obviously, the writing here, but that's just the artist autograph. Not sure what this is. These tassel beads. Couldn't say. There's a little broom here, a little hand broom. I'm just noticing on the bedpost, we have what looks like to be possibly a gargoyle along with some other figure. Couldn't tell you what it is, but we'll look at it. We'll examine. A nice ornate decoration happening here. And then what's really interesting is this right here. This is kind of a centerpiece. We have a mirror which perfectly reflects the painting as a whole, which is really cool to see that perspective. And we see perhaps 2 figures here who are our perspectives. This is whose eyes we're looking at these 2 people through. And you can kind of get some more details out of this. Also, I noticed that you have, it looks like scenes of Jesus, the crucifixion up here, you can tell. In case you guys can't see it. I can see it a certain way, but maybe you can't. Crucifixion, probably have the lives of Jesus, different acts and such. Can't exactly tell what's going on in this one. This must be carrying his body off the crucifix. Maybe this is him raised. You can see a little glow around his head, perhaps. Maybe this is a Sermon on the Mount. He looks like he's perhaps teaching others around him. I can't quite tell. Not sure what this one is. Not sure what that one is, but still Jesus' center. Can't tell on that one. Maybe the building of the cross there for crucifixion, the lifting of the cross for crucifixion, and finally the crucifixion once again. So you gotta get a nice little scene there as well. And then this reflection, which is so brilliant. Let me move right there. So you have 2 figures, like I said. Who will they be? Not sure, but you have the oranges once again here on the windowsill. Left to ripen. How cool to capture the reflection here, though. I think that's actually really, really cool how that's captured. Oh, I love when you can zoom in so well. I love when you can zoom in so well. Are there any other details that we've missed? This looks like fire right here, right? Doesn't the bottom look like flames? As if to alight the chandelier here. All right. So that's all I got for examination. Let's look at the Wikipedia article here a little bit. It's a full-length double portrait believed to depict the Italian merchant Giovanni di Niccolò Arnolfini and his wife, presumably in their residence at the Flemish city in Bruges. It is considered one of the most original and complex paintings in Western art because of its beauty, complex geometric orthogonal perspective, and expansion of the picture space with the use of the mirror. According to Ernst Gombrich, in its own way, it is as new and revolutionary as Donatello's or Masaccio's work in Italy. A simple corner of the real world had suddenly been fixed onto a panel as if by magic. For the first time in history, the artist became the perfect eyewitness in the truest sense of the term. It's been considered by many to be a form of marriage contract recorded as a painting. That's kind of interesting, to view the painting itself as the marriage contract. Van Eyck used the technique of applying several layers of thin translucent glazes to create a painting with an intensity of both tone and color. The glowing colors also help to highlight the realism and to show the material wealth and opulence of Arnolfini's world. He took advantage of the longer drying time of oil paint compared to tempera to blend colors by painting wet and wet to achieve subtle variations in light and shade to heighten the illusion of three-dimensional forms. It was highly utilized by Renaissance painters, including him. The medium of oil paint also permitted Van Eyck to capture surface appearance and distinguish textures precisely. There's a lot of light technique that's happening here. The illusionism of the painting was remarkable for its time, in part for the rendering of detail, but particularly for the use of light to evoke space of an interior for its utterly convincing depiction of a room, as well as of the people who inhabit it. Whatever meaning is given to the scene in its details, and there has been much debate on this, according to Craig Harbison, the painting is the only 15th century northern panel to survive in which the artist's contemporaries are shown engaged in some sort of action in the contemporary interior. That's kind of cool. It's a painting of everyday life of modern times. And truly it is, right? When you look at it, it's just them in their room, in yes, opulence, as it's said, but, humble to an extent as well. We don't need to read every single bit of the description, as we've seen quite a bit of it. But let's see if we can parse out some of the interesting facts in here. Infrared reflectograms of the painting show many small alterations to both faces, to the mirror, and other elements as well. The couple is shown in an upstairs room with a chest and a bed in it during early summer, as indicated by the fruits on the cherry tree. Not the orange tree I was thinking. It doesn't have to be oranges, but some sort of citrus as well. The room probably functioned as a reception room. The window has 6 interior wooden shutters, but only the top opening has glass, with clear bullseye pieces set in blue, red, and green stained glass. I wondered if that represented something, though. They're richly dressed despite the season. Both their outer garments, his tabard and her houppelande, are trimmed and beautifully and fully lined with fur. They got money, basically. Underneath, he wears a doublet of patterned material, probably a silk damask, and she holds her long, full skirts up, revealing a blue underdress, also trimmed with white fur. For this painting, they were showing off, basically. Both outfits must have been enormously expensive. There may be an element of restraint in their clothes, befitting their merchant status. The interior room has other signs of wealth. The brass chandelier is very elaborate, as mentioned. It has a mechanism of pulley to lower it for managing candles. The convex mirror in the back, of course, showing scenes of the Passion. There's no sign of a fireplace, nor anywhere obvious to put one. Even the oranges casually placed to the left are a sign of wealth. They were very expensive in Burgundy and may have been one of the items dealt in by Arnolfini. They're showing off everything, all their wealth in such a small kind of, I don't know if I'd say humble way, but in a humble way. The view in the mirror shows 2 figures just inside the door that the couple are facing. The second figure wearing red is presumably the artist, although unlike Velázquez in Las Meninas, he does not seem to be painting. Right, they're just standing there. Scholars have made this assumption based on the appearance of the figures wearing red headdresses in some other Van Eyck works. The dog is an early form of the breed, now known as the Affenpinscher. Look at this thing in a little top hat. The painting is signed, inscribed, and dated on the wall. Of course, says John Van Eyck was here. The inscription looks as if it were painted in large letters on the wall, as was done with proverbs and other phrases at this period. Identity of the subjects, huh? They suggest that the painting shows portraits of Giovanni di Arrigo Arnolfini and his wife. 4 years later, James Well published a book in which he agreed. It is now believed that the subject is either Giovanni di Arrigo or his cousin, and the wife of either one of them. And it goes on from their scholarly debate, arguing that the elaborate signature on the back wall and other factors show it was painted as a legal record, which is very interesting, right? Panofsky also argues that the details of domestic items in the painting each have a disguised symbolism attached to their appearance, which I would, probably, in some capacity has some sort of symbolism. For example, the fruit on the windowsill, one growing ripe, could also represent the fruitage in her belly. Jean-Baptiste Bardou agrees somewhat with Panofsky that this is a marriage contract portrait in his 1986 article. However, he disagrees that the items have specific hidden meanings. Could just be stuff in the room. Interpretation is symbolism. It's thought that they're already married because of the woman's headdress. Okay, a non-married woman would have her hair down, according to Margaret Carroll. The woman stands near the bed and well into the room, symbolic of her role as caretaker of the house and solidifying her domestic role, whereas Giovanni stands near an open window, symbolic of the role in the outside world as a merchant. That's actually a great detail. I didn't even think of that. Arnolfini looks directly out at the viewer. His wife gazes obediently at her husband. His hand is vertically raised, representing his commanding position of authority, while hers is a lower, horizontal, more submissive pose. However, her gaze at her husband can also show her equality to him because she is not looking down at the floor as a lower class woman is. Her head's down, but she's looking at him. See, that's cool. I love symbolism like that. Symbolism behind their joint hands has been debated quite a bit. About the marriage contract and such. Although many viewers assume the wife to be pregnant, this is not believed to be so. Art historians point to numerous paintings of female virgin saints similarly dressed and believe that this look was fashionable at the time. The more cloth a person wore, the more wealthy he or she were assumed to be, hence why they were wearing multiple layers. There was a carved figure as a finial on the bedpost. I told you, it's right there. What is it? Probably of Saint Margaret, patron saint of pregnancy and childbirth, who was invoked to assist women in labor and cure infertility. Or possibly representing Saint Martha, the patroness of housewives. From the bedpost hangs a brush, symbolic of domestic duties. I told you. Furthermore, the brush and the rock crystal prayer beads, oh, that's what they are, appear together on either side of the mirror, may also allude to a dual Christian injunctions, pray and work. Or sweeping out impurities. Man, I love like that kind of deep symbolism. Like I said, we're not going through every single thing. We saw that this represents the Passion over here in the mirror. The painting is often referenced for its immaculate depiction of non-Euclidean geometry, referring to the image on the convex mirror. Assuming a spherical mirror, the distortion has been correctly portrayed, like a dome kind of mirror, not just flat glass. Of course, you have the dog. It may symbolize fidelity or fido, loyalty, or alternatively lust. Like their desire to have a child. It could simply be a lapdog. It could be this, it could be that, it could be many things. The green of the woman's dress symbolizes hope, possibly hope of becoming a mother. White cap could signify purity. True. I wasn't thinking colors. Seeing a candle in the left front holder of the ornate 6-branch chandelier is possibly a candle used in Flemish marriage customs. Lit in daylight like the sanctuary lamp in a church, the candle may allude to the presence of the Holy Ghost or the ever-present eye of God. The cherries present the tree. Outside the window may symbolize love, and the oranges representing purity and innocence. That reigned in the Garden of Eden before the fall of man. Oh! That's so cool. That is really, really cool. Like, all that you can get from, like, a simple portrait in one hand, but there's so much happening in it. That is really, really cool. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed the painting reactions. I always appreciate you being here and watching, and I hope you're having a great start to your April. Let me know your thoughts on the portrait here in the comments below, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. That's good. Bye.